We are living smack in the middle of a revolution. And I don't mean that lightly. It's one that is fundamentally rewiring how we live, how we work, and how we relate to each other. And no, this isn't some far-off science fiction plot. It's happening right now, all around us. It's called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And today, we're going to break down what that really means.
So, let me ask you a question. What's the common thread here? What possibly connects a factory that runs itself, a car that drives you around, and a vehicle that you can literally print into existence? I mean, they seem like totally separate, wild innovations, right? But they're all pieces of the same massive technological puzzle.
The answer, of course, is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This is the engine powering all these incredible advancements. It's what's blurring the lines between the physical, the digital, and even the biological worlds. It's so much more than a buzzword, it's literally the next chapter of our story.
Okay, first section. What is the Fourth Revolution, really? It is absolutely crucial to get this. This isn't just a simple upgrade to the digital age. It's not the Third Industrial Revolution with a new paint job. This is something entirely new in its scale, its scope, and its complexity. To really get it, let's take a quick look back. The first revolution? That gave us steam power. The second brought us electricity and the assembly line. The third, which many of us grew up in, was all about computers and the beginnings of automation. Each was a big step, for sure. But the fourth? It's a massive, massive leap. It's all about fusing these worlds together, physical, digital, biological, into one smart, interconnected system.
So what makes this one so different? Well, our sources point to three huge things. First up, speed. This thing is evolving at an exponential pace, not the slow and steady linear pace of the past. Second, its scope. It's not just affecting one or two fields, it's disrupting nearly every industry in every single country. And finally, the system's impact. It's changing the very systems of how we produce things, how we manage companies, and even how we're governed.
All right, Section 2. Let's talk about the tools of this new revolution. What's actually in the toolbox that's making all of this happen?
One of the absolute cornerstones is a concept called a digital twin. Okay, so imagine having a perfect virtual copy of a real-world object, like a giant wind turbine out in a field. Now, this isn't just a static 3D model. It's a living, breathing simulation, constantly being fed real-time data from the actual turbine. It behaves, it wears down, it even fails, just like its physical twin.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, it starts with sensors, what we call the Internet of Things, or IoT. They're all over the physical object, collecting data on everything. Temperature, speed, vibration, you name it. That data gets zapped up to the virtual model in the cloud. Then, the model simulates what's happening and uses AI to analyze performance. And here's the real game changer. It gives you actionable insights. You can predict exactly when a part needs maintenance before it breaks. Think about the time and money that saves.
And a digital twin is just one piece of this incredible puzzle. The whole toolkit is packed with goodies: advanced robotics, AI that can learn and adapt on its own, that massive IoT sensor network, 3D printing that builds things from the ground up, and even technologies like blockchain for securing it all. Together, these tools are the real engine of the revolution.
Okay, next up, let's talk about the impact on business. Let's bring this down to earth and see what it means for real companies, especially the small and medium-sized ones, the SMEs, which are pretty much the backbone of any economy.
And if you want to understand just how important they are, just look at this data from the Egyptian economy. It's just staggering. SMEs account for a whopping 99% of private sector projects. They employ 75% of the entire workforce, and they contribute 80% to the country's GDP. They are absolutely vital, which makes how they adapt to this revolution a make-or-break issue.
And for those that do adapt, the benefits can be huge. I love this example from a company called Nap AG. They gave their warehouse workers augmented reality headsets. What happened? Well, the workers could find items way faster, and their error rate plummeted by an incredible 40%. That is Industry 4.0 in action, delivering real, tangible results. This quote really hits the nail on the head. See, the old way of doing business was always reactive. You waited for something to break, and then you rushed to fix it. This revolution is all about being proactive. It lets managers see problems the very second they pop up and fix them immediately. It saves time, money, and honestly, a lot of stress.
So Section 4 is about the challenges of this digital transformation. Because with all this promise, let's be real, this journey is not a simple path to success. Adopting these technologies can be incredibly difficult.
In fact, the numbers are pretty sobering. Check this out.
According to one of our sources, over 80% of digital transformation initiatives fail. That is a massive failure rate, and it just goes to show how tough this really is, especially if you're a smaller company without billions in the bank.
So why do so many fall flat? Well, for smaller businesses, the obstacles can feel like a mountain range. First, there's the money, the high cost of new tech, and the struggle to get financing. Then there's the people. There's a huge shortage of workers with the right skills. On top of all that, you've got major worries about data security. It's a very, very tough road to navigate. All right, let's zoom out for our final section, the fourth revolution and our future. This goes way beyond just business. It's about all of us, our society, and it forces us to try and balance incredible promise with some pretty significant peril.
And you better believe governments are taking this seriously. Germany, which actually coined the term Industry 4.0, is all in on keeping their competitive edge. At the same time, China's Made in China 2025 plan is this massive, ambitious push to dominate in all the key high-tech industries. Make no mistake, this is a global race.
When you boil it all down, this revolution really presents us with two very different potential futures. On one hand, you've got the promise: higher incomes for everyone, better quality of life, incredible efficiency. But on the other hand, you've got the peril, the very real danger of widening inequality, jobs being lost to automation, and totally new worries about privacy and ethics.
And of all those dangers, one concern really stands out above the rest. As this quote from our source material makes crystal clear, the single biggest societal challenge we face is inequality. There's a huge risk that the benefits of this revolution will flow mostly to a small group of people, widening that gap between the haves and the have-nots.
And that leaves us at this profound crossroads. The technology itself isn't good or evil. It's a tool. It's all about how we, as a society, choose to use it. The challenge for all of us, for governments, for companies, for you and me, is to steer this revolution in the right direction. So the ultimate question we have to ask is this: how do we shape this incredible power to elevate all of humanity, not just a select few?